I don't think it's something really common out there.
You go there to maybe find out information.
What's the product about? I saw some of the demos, by the way.
We are targeting not just the top 1%, top 5%, top 10%.
Okay, and then just waiting for the right moment.
We are catering to the 90% of businesses.
Hello everyone, one day more and one more special guest. Today we have someone who I can already call a friend. We met recently in one of the networking events. I got perplexed by the work they are doing, and I was like, I need to invite this guy to one of these video podcasts. So, Jeldon, welcome to the video podcast
Thank
that we
you.
started
Thank you,
recently.
Eduardo. Thank you, Eduardo. I mean, this is really good here. I mean, we only recently met and we connected straight away. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was really, really good.
It's been a real pleasure to meet you and more of a pleasure to have you here. So, Jeldon, I'm gonna leave it to you. Tell us who you are and what do you do?
Yeah, so my name is Jeldon Fernandes. I'm the co-founder of AZ.ai, and we are a team of 8 people in the team. And what we've done is we are looking at AI, for everybody. So, what we have is AI just shouldn't be for big companies. It should be for everyone and even your local businesses. So what we're looking to do is build conversational agents for the everyday people. So having it on your website and these agents be able to actually contain, and have actions as well. So as what we call to actions. So
Hmm.
that's what we do amongst other things.
Right, just to clarify for people to visualize this because I don't think it's something really common out there. You enter a website and you will be welcomed by a small micro icon that's floating, which you can use to speak to. So instead of just having to browse around the website, you can literally speak directly to find the pricing, what's the product about. I saw some of the demos, by the way.
Correct, correct. You kind of hit the nail on the head there. So think about it this way right now is whenever you go onto any website, you go there for a reason, right? You go there to maybe find out information, maybe you want to get in touch with somebody, or maybe you want to find out pricing or whatever. And a lot of information is there on the website, but it is hidden. And
Mm,
what I mean by that is, company just put all that and it's put in, under different sections, but you have to go and search for it. And sometimes you might find the answer, and sometimes you might not find the answer.
mm,
So what we have is, like you said, a web AI that sits on your browser, on your website, sorry, and you can actually ask it questions. So you could say something like, can you tell me a little bit more about the product or tell me about the pricing? But in terms of the call to actions, maybe you can say, can you just send me some information? And then what you do is we collect the email address, or you could say, can you have somebody give me a call? We can collect the phone number. But I think the highlight of this is if you say, can you book a meeting with one of the consultants, for example,
mm.
it opens up a live calendar and it books it. So what we do is we take away, where all the work that the people on this side have to do, and it's just more seamless. And you can have a conversation or it's done via text.
Amazing. And that is mainly for B2B, right? Sounds like even we could be talking about hairdressers as well, but websites that tend to not offer an e-commerce store, more people offering a service. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, you could say it's B2B, but I definitely see this in a B2C. So for example, what I mean, you said like a hairdresser, I see this in all my local, I want my hairdresser to have this. I want my florist to have this because a lot of inquiries might come online.
mm,
And, people shouldn't be penalized for being busy, or for being successful, right? They don't want to be missing out opportunities. I want my local builder to have this on his website. So while he's there busy doing his stuff and he gets in information, so he gets a prospect, then the AI can actually analyze this and book a meeting with him when he's free. So everybody should be having this. But yeah, I mean, all the local
absolutely.
businesses.
Absolutely. I think I'm asking you too, but do you think voice is the future of
I know we have gone from a generational thing to sort of texting, but we are humans, right? We communicate by speech,
mm,
right? And we can also speak a lot quicker than we can type.
true.
So imagine a way right now where, you're on the train, you're on the website and you're searching where you can actually speak to the agent, say, can you just tell me of the price? And you get straight to the point,
Mm,
right? We live in a world right now where we want that instant information.
hmm.
But yet we still live in a world where we have to wait to get to the answer. And things are changing at such a rapid pace, especially with AI. And that's the whole thing, is to get to the answer quicker.
Amazing. I think you put it on the spot, and people are becoming more and more impatient at the same time. Just maybe because they feel like things are just flowing by their side very rapidly, and they want to be they don't want to be the last one to catch the train, basically.
Correct.
Amazing. So, can I ask you how many users does currently AZ have? Because I know it's a very new product. Is it something you can share with us?
Yeah, so we are still in the development phase. We've got a few users, and we're looking to, open this to to the wider audience. So we are currently in the process of the self-service. So what we are trying to do is make it super easy that a local my local florist, my builder can actually implement this themselves. So
Hmm.
we're trying to make it, the whole thing of AZ is AI made easy, and we want it to be made super easy for the everyday people, because I understand that people use ChatGPT and they go, oh yeah, I use ChatGPT, for my emails and stuff like that. But it's all about that automation and how you can get this on your website. Because say, for example, if we get 300 people to sign up in the first week, we can't implement this, each and every. So we have to be in a position that they can do it themselves.
Right. So you do it with me type of model. So you onboard the client, and your team implements the technology in their website.
No, they can do it themselves. So we're getting it to the stage where they can do it themselves.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, so we want it to be where local builder who's, maybe doesn't have the expertise, but we're making it so easy
Hmm.
that they will be able to develop, they will be able to actually implement it themselves with all the guides, but it's super, super easy.
Right. Okay. But up until now has been a bit of a mix, right? You've been
Hmm.
trying to get just
Correct.
figuring out the best way to make it a total DIY
Correct.
product.
Yeah, yeah,
Amazing.
correct.
Wow. Yeah.
So right now, and we do work with some companies that also, so in terms of the web, but we also do the phone agents as well. So people calling up there from a call center, and so we do those as well.
Okay, perfect. So anyone that's trying to have like an AI phone assistant receiving calls, answering
Correct.
answering
Correct.
questions, filtering.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's a lot more than just the answering calls. So we have a company that initially the call was a non-revenue generating call. So
Mhm.
people just call in to find out the status of the inquiry. And now we have the agent that upsells or be able to sell something at a discounted price. So now it's become from a non-revenue generating to a revenue generating call as well. So which is really cool.
Wow, amazing. Okay. So I'm very intrigued to hear the marketing tactics used here, but we're not gonna jump there right now. So in terms of beta users, can you give me like a range of how many people are currently testing and playing with the product? With the
So we've got around 15 to 20 for different companies from different verticals. So we have a theme park that one of the challenges that they have was a lot of birthday inquiries.
Mhm.
We've got a car dealership, which is people calling up to find out the status of their car. We've got a B2B SaaS company where it's the leads that are coming in. They want a much better qualified leads.
Right.
We've got
And that's also
B2C.
for, sorry, that's also for AC, or it's for the other one? For
It's both. I mean, they all sit on right now. These are all for the phone agents, but we've got one or two that we've got a law firm that currently has it for the web widget. So they are one of our first customers.
okay, perfect. Right. So you are like offering both services to the same client pretty much because they
Correct. Exactly.
right.
Exactly. It's the whole agentic system that we see, I mean, the
Mhm.
word agentic is huge, and it's a very broad term, and all of this is a part of that agentic system. So we see voice as a huge part of it. I mean, we got used to it many, many years ago when we had the Alexas and the Googles of the world, and that's how we started that. So it did start many, many years ago.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, they can also really be very price implementation. So having to 15 or 20 already. You've been like for how long in business now?
Just under a year.
Under a year. Perfect.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. So, okay, yesterday we talked because we wanted to, well, 2 days ago we talked,
Yeah.
Jeldon. We were supposed to have the interview, but we didn't have much time. So we just had a really nice chat and we chatted about so many things. But going back to the podcast, there was a section of that chat that I was intrigued by many parts. I think you had very good advice, but I'm intrigued to know for you to tell the audience how you found out about the need of AZ. I remember you been telling me about having a problem while searching something. Can you please share it just to see
Yeah,
how people find
absolutely.
problems to solve the business?
Absolutely. And I think, I mean, I am a new entrepreneur. I've always been, in the corporate field.
Mm.
And I think, sometimes we just wait for the right opportunity, and this was the right opportunity. And I think, when you're trying to solve a problem, the first thing is, are we solving a problem that I have faced or, somebody has faced personally? And I think that was the key thing is, I've been in sales for over 20 years. And, as salespeople, we are super needy. A lot of people know this, and we always go about, we want the ideal lead, and we never get the ideal lead because the business development team, they do the best that they can. But at the end of the day, they're still sort of humans. So that's how it sort of came out. But also in terms of the opportunities, which is, over a weekend that I was talking about was, I was looking for some artificial grass, and I just went onto Google like everybody else, and I typed in Southeast London artificial grass. And I did come across this one website, really, really good. I gave them a call and there was no answer. And I was like, okay, what do I do? I filled up a form, and then what that did, that gave me the opportunity to go to a few other companies that were on the website. And one of those companies actually called me up and took down the measurements and stuff. And basically they got the business. Bear in mind that, as a consumer, I feel let down because the one that I wanted to go with never called me because I didn't know when they were going to call me up. So I just went, with the company that did. But more importantly, they lost my business. So now think about this from globally, people are coming onto websites, and I've seen this on numerous websites where people have a contact us form and they do not put the time when they're going to contact the person, which what that means is I will contact you in a minute, I might contact you in a day, I might contact you in a week, but you don't know. So what you're doing is you're giving that opportunity for this person to go to your competitors. And there's a saying, right? The early bird catches the worm.
Jeldon, I think you have to call out the first company's name here right now so that they can call you up and say, damn, I need that product. Yeah, amazing. Okay, right. So it was a clear problem for yourself. Did you do any market research at that point? How did you go about?
Yeah, so we did a bit of market research, and Gartner, obviously we went into sort of Gartner, but what I did was we built the product initially just like a test, and I reached out to roughly around 150 people in my network on LinkedIn. And what I did was I asked for help,
Hmm.
and I did 120 demos in close to between 2 to 2.5 months for feedback, and it was the best thing ever. It was ridiculous. I mean, people, to get from anybody from a CEO to a director to a BDR to marketing to even accounts, just to get a different perspective, different people's ideas. And a lot of them were like, wow, this is really, really good. But we're trying to hit a niche,
Hmm.
which is, trying to get, how do you feel as a
Hmm.
person speaking? Because people did ask us like, why didn't you just go for one sort of, why did you do this with CEOs or whatever? Because in we see everybody as somebody going to be using this. It could be from any part of the organization. So it was really, really good feedback. But yeah, I just reached out, and some people I haven't spoken to for over 10 years, but it was amazing. Yeah, it was really, really good.
So you made use of your great network to get some help.
Absolutely.
I,
Years of networking, years and years of networking.
I love how you say, I had to ask for help. Some people say, I did market research. We created a form, a post on LinkedIn, but, naturally, honestly, saying, I actually had to go out and I was lost and find help, right? Did you realize that you had thought about the perfect product, or
No,
they helped you shape it
they
to
helped us shape it. They helped us shape it.
Tell me what you thought about and what it became.
Yeah, so initially we did have another idea. And before we did the market research, we did have another idea, but we were conflicted with that. And I think, everything in life, a path is there. So what we did was then we sort of build this, and then we got a lot of feedback and got, okay, so we've got the base of it, but we need to listen to people.
Mm.
right? And what we did was on a weekly basis, we would see what was. So I had three questions that I asked them on the
Mm.
feedback. On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel about this product? One being it's rubbish, 10 being it's the next best thing since sliced bread. Three things that you really, really liked about this product, and three things that you could improve on,
Nice.
right? So these
Like
are
it.
the literally three questions that I would say at the start. That's all it was. The demo literally took between 4 to 5 minutes, and I'll talk to you about at a later stage why we keep it super simple. And every week we collate all the ones that to improve on, and we get it better and get better and better. So it's 120 times three, which is like 360 feedback that we could, which is really good. You know, the things that are going well, we keep it, obviously. But the ones that we were more concerned about, the ones how we could improve rather than what's really, really good.
Was there anything that you realized, wow, I was so off about thinking that this was gonna be
There were so many. There
so
were so
many.
many. There were so many. You know, one good thing I've seen is it's really, really good to get people's feedback. You know, people talk about criticism, and sometimes when it's your baby, and I have to say, your baby looks good in your eyes, but might look ugly in somebody else's, right? Uh, but that's the key thing is to get this positive criticism and to see how do we get this to where we want it to be. And
It's
that's
hard to
super
get
important.
it's hard to break your walls when you believe something when you believe in something so much, right? It's just hard to
Exactly.
hear, damn, I built it,
Exactly.
took so much work, now I need to break it down and redo it.
Correct. We've
That's
broken this down so many times.
I think that is the more I get to get into the SaaS world because I'm also building I also have my own tools already out there and I'm building. It's becoming more and more critical just to accept that you are shipping a crap product. That
Yeah,
is the idea they need to have because if you think that I have the best of the best, you're gonna hit a wall really hard. And
100%.
yeah, I mean
100%.
people will tell you what they want. Sheldon, I need to ask you a few questions here about your help moment. So you reached out to people only via LinkedIn?
Yes, that was only via LinkedIn. And I'm a big believer as, I did a bit of psychology and I use the word help a lot more than you think I do. I use it a lot. And the reason is because people really do want to help. And you have to be genuine in that. Like you're really asking for help because people are like, every time I get a message on LinkedIn, for example, it's a sales message. This is what I can do for you. And I actually want is like, can you tell me what you can do for me? Because I need your feedback. And the word help goes a long way. So
Hmm.
you need to be open. You need to literally, and you need to mean it, not just say it. We really wanted help. And people helped us, but it was all 100% on LinkedIn.
Were they all first connections? That's the technical term for LinkedIn. Were they
Yeah,
all you knew?
Yeah, so they were all first connections initially for just for the feedback because that was the main thing. But again, these are people I have worked with 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Some we might have even lost touch. But when you say I need your help, people will respond. I mean, I did send out a lot more than 120. I think I sent out 150, 160, but I'll take 120 people who came back to me and we had meetings.
Amazing. So I have a question there. For those who
Mhm.
were who you didn't meet for 10 years, that's a lot. Like, how did you break the ice? Because it
It
can be really
was,
difficult.
It was it was easier than I thought. I think the fear was more inside my own head than anybody else's. And time passes super quick. And people want to find out about what's going on in other people's lives. The fear is actually inside. We build our own fears. It's inside our head. Fear
Hmm.
doesn't exist. And I always use this. I just watched this recently where they showed a couple of kids, babies, like maybe 6 months, 7 month year olds like that. And there's a lot of snakes over there, right? And the babies are playing with the snake because there's no fear.
Hmm.
We create those fears. So we fear that, oh, if I get in touch with somebody over 10 years, what are they going to say? It was amazing. And the best part was I reconnected with people over 10 years, and people now want to find out more about the journey. So we need to get away from the fears that is in our head, not in anybody else's.
Everything is so psychological. I love it. Look, I never thought about it that way. I need to say something. I'm learning so much with all the amazing people I'm talking to. Something that I wouldn't learn from ChatGPT. If I go to ChatGPT and I say, I'm f fearful about I fear to fail when I talk to this person in business, he would be like, relax, take a deep breath.
Take a deep breath.
It wouldn't go as deep as saying, fear is a psychological state, which I love it. I think it's such a good thing. Right. So let's go deeper into the topic.
Let's go.
So you talk to these people, they give you a test, they give you some feedback, then you go back with your co-founder and you fix things up.
Yeah.
How do you get your first customer?
So my first customer was somebody I met at a party,
Oh,
right?
a party.
Yeah, I met at a party.
Nice
I
advice
was
for everyone. Nice advice for everyone.
Yeah, you know
Party.
what? It is, you'll be surprised. And I know it's not about talking business, but I have a saying, which is not every person you speak to is going to be an opportunity, but every person you don't speak to is a missed opportunity.
Mhm.
And I actually was at a party, I was speaking to this gentleman, and he said, hold on a second, my wife owns a law firm and she would love this. And I got to speak to her, and she became our first customer.
Love it.
And also, another, I got a really good, it wasn't a customer, but I was at Gatwick Airport. I ran into the train. I spoke to this lovely lady over there, and I got a meeting for another big company. I spoke to a gentleman on the plane, who was literally in like the island between us, and we already had a meeting. We went out for coffee. It's You'll be surprised where, we live in a world that is full of opportunity in abundance. It is abundance of opportunity. We just generally tend to expect the opportunity to come to us.
And it's becoming more difficult for many people to talk to someone else because we spend so much more time on our phones in the train when maybe next
Cor
to you, you've got your next opportunity.
Correct. But again, going back to the what we said earlier, the fear.
The fear. Right.
The fear is in our own head that if I say something, oh, this is not the right person, this is not the right, it's our own fears. I literally have no fear. Like I said, I mean, I'll talk to you about this one of our biggest deals.
Right.
And if I tell you how I got them, you will be literally shocked. You will say, this is ridiculous. Like, this stuff never happens.
Say, go ahead. You want to say
Go
it?
ahead. Okay.
Oh,
So
later.
yeah, I was
I
in the
can't left
Middle East.
waiting.
Yeah, I was in the Middle East at an event out in Qatar, and in the evening they had this thing to do some networking. It was a walk on the Corniche, a networking walk. Like I said, I was with this gentleman. We started walking. He was telling me about what it is that they do, which is a massive, massive theme park. Found out the challenges, and then I just said, well, this is what we do. And you know what? The first comment I got was, I've seen this before. It's rubbish. It's not that great,
Hmm.
right? And I said, okay, that's fair enough. But I said, since we're on this walk, I said, give me 3 or 4 minutes to show you the product. And if I don't impress you, then we'll still go on this walk, right? In 4 minutes, he turned around and said, hold on a second. I've got my co-founder, sorry, the assistant MD over here. Got him there. He says, you have to listen to this. And they are looking to use us for the entire theme park,
Oh,
just from a conversation from walking on a networking event.
right.
No meeting, no nothing, just
Okay. Random.
conversations. And yeah, and that's what it is, having those conversations.
How did you manage the conversation? I feel like that's an important element to highlight here. Like we're talking about a really big client, you have 3, 4 minutes to present. Do you remember what exactly
Yes,
what angle you used
yes,
to
because I
convince?
use the same angle all the time.
Right. Okay. Tell me,
It's not,
please. Tell us.
yeah, it's not about me.
Right.
It's never about me. It's about the client. And not everybody I speak to is going to be a client, but the key thing is you got to keep your ears open. And this is an old cliche, keep your ears open and keep your mouth shut, like kind of a thing. Listen to what they say and just ask the question. So then when you answer, you can form the answer based on their challenges rather than this is what I can do for you, but that's not the challenge that you're helping with. So it was literally 10 minutes of him constantly talking till he hit a very big challenge. And I was like, that's perfect.
Right. So you were absorbing, and you were like,
Right.
find what's the right angle to help him with the problems that he has.
Correct. So I'll use again, you probably know I use a lot of analogy, right? You got to be a sponge, and if he's throwing water on it, don't keep squeezing it every single time because you're going to get little. You keep taking, you keep taking, you keep taking all the water. So when you're ready, then you squeeze it for all the water to come out, because then gathered all that information. Because if you put a little bit of water and you squeeze a sponge, for example, nothing might come out because you're right. But let him feed you all the information. And then when you're ready, you squeeze that sponge to actually give out exactly how you can help them with those challenges.
Wow. Okay. Do you have any like specific questions that you tend to ask to extract that information? Because maybe they're talking about their kids or, which is also good, obviously, but at some point when it comes to a networking event, I guess in that space where you are in, especially of AI, and people are looking to expand their business and bringing new clients. Do you have a technique to bring their problems out to see?
Yeah, I do actually. So you probably know I do a lot of networking. I network a lot. I network online and I network in person as well. I think it's a great source of meeting people, having a lot of people and especially the online from all across the world. The technique that I use is, as I call it, is just how you have to keep it simple, right? And I don't tell people what I do until they ask me. But what I mean by that is our brains are very curious, right? Like say, for example, if you see something in the street and it says, there's a signboard that says, "Do not look." We are going to look because our brain is curious to see why you tell me not to look. So you're going to look. So whenever I meet people at a networking event, the first thing I do is I ask them what they do and I let them continue. I never tell them what I do.
What about if they start with you first? Like, hey,
Yeah, so I divert. I go, "Hi, I'm Jeldon Singh," and then I divert because just remember, I want to be the sponge that gets all the, I need to absorb. So
right.
if they've given a little bit, I won't squeeze it yet. I'll say, "Oh, I'll introduce myself. This is what I do. So tell me, you got to learn to know how to dive." I go, "So tell me exactly what it is that you do." And then you go, "Oh, okay." And people love to talk about themselves, about their companies because they're super passionate. So you can always dig deeper, but there will
Mhm.
come a point when somebody's brain goes, "Well, hold on a second. You've been talking for the last 5 to 10 minutes. You have no idea what this person does." And the moment they say, "So what do you do?" Now you can frame your answer based on all the things that they said, because then you can say, "Wow, we help companies like X. This is how we help them," not realizing that you actually frame that answer to their challenges, to their vertical, to their job, whatever it is.
Wow. Okay. So it's all about absorbing, figure out a way to not be the main speaker or the main actor of the conversation. Always try to be in the background, listening as much as possible.
Correct. And also keep them curious, right? The whole thing is you want to keep their brains curious. You want to keep them like asking for more.
You want to enjoy you want them to enjoy the conversation, so they say more and more, right?
Exactly. Because if I keep telling them everything about what I do, because AI being the buzzword, they'll get bored. "Oh, here's another AI guy," or "this is what." Now I want their brains to be super curious, right? I want them to think, "Oh, wow. And this is related to my business," or whatever it is. And but not realizing that I actually got all that information from them.
And when you have the chance to speak after a long few minutes, do you answer in a really direct way to their problems, or do you use analogies? Do you
I
somehow?
use I use analogies. I love analogies. I use analogies and quotes a lot. I've been doing this for a very long time. I think because people remember analogies and quotes, they remember stories, and I always like to tell a story.
Okay,
I always use the word imagine. So if they were the same, I would say, "So imagine if you had this," and your brain automatically thinks to imagine what that might be if you had, I don't know, certain software, whatever it is. So I always go, "Imagine if you could do this," or "Imagine if you had that." So that's me planting the seed.
right.
Um,
Can I ask you what did you say to the guy for the theme park? Do you remember?
Yeah, I know. I'll tell you the process is I go because one of the challenges they had was the incoming calls for the birthday parties, and
Okay.
it's a long process. And literally, that was the first day. The next day, I didn't realize there were three other people at the event, and I spent close to an hour and a half with the entire team at the event. I even missed the interview with Will Smith. Will Smith was being interviewed, and I actually missed that
Ah,
and they were, the two of them, luckily it was the decision makers. and they got the team, the IT guy, the marketing guy, and they were just like, how do we get this? Like they were thinking, which is the word, imagine if you had this. And they would think, oh, can you do this and can you do that? And it is just like, that's all you have to do. I look at any idea as in, like you plant a seed. An oak tree doesn't form the next day,
Mhm.
right? So you plant the seed and you need to water it, you need to nurture it for it to turn into an oak tree. Otherwise, it's never going to turn into an oak tree.
Right. So the conversation was pretty much just the start of the relationship that it became after this.
Correct.
There was a
Correct.
walk, there was a conversation, and over time you
Yeah,
grew.
but also, I think one of the key things is at AZ, we made sure, and one of the things that we did was when we show the product,
Hmm.
it has to be super simple and it has to be interactive.
Hmm.
And we keep it under 4 minutes. And people are always like, 4 minutes, wow, that's like, why? Because I've been in the software world for over 20 years. And when we're doing demos online,
People fall asleep.
you fall asleep, you don't know if somebody's paying attention because after like 20 minutes, you're like, okay. And then the worst thing is when you ask anybody online, when there's a team of people, do you have any questions? And they go, no.
Because I
They,
didn't listen.
I didn't understand it. I don't know what it does or whatever, but in 3 to 4 minutes,
Yeah,
you're still at that peak. That's it, done. And
right.
then we can dive deeper. But 3, 4 minutes, you will know exactly what the product does.
And I like it, just going back to what we said before, making it about them, right? Because when you have a 1 hour demo, so you are talking about your product, basically. In the hour, you can learn so much about the actual problems of the user so that you can feed it back to the developer or the marketing, well, the sales team, from the sales team to the developer teams, and they can, work with this feedback. Good, right. So sounds to me like networking is one of the main source of leads. Do you have any
Yeah.
other tactics? Any
I mean,
organic
there's
presence online? Any ads? Any
No, so we have not done
collaboration?
that. We've not done any of those. I'm a bit of an old school, which is you got to meet people,
Right.
right? We are going to be doing some more marketing in terms of sort of on LinkedIn, but we are creating content. One of our videos with a very large company that we used some of their software. They did an interview with us out in Singapore
Hmm.
and with my CMO, and we didn't realize today it's just, it has hit, I think it's 150,000 views on their YouTube channel, which is amazing. And currently it sits in their top 10, actually it's top eight now, top eight videos, which is using it's excuse me, it's about AI conversational agents. So it is a hot topic. People are looking, the big boys are spending a lot of money and a lot of research into conversational agents. And we do see a world where, you could speak to your fridge and say, hey, get me a milk or get me an orange juice, and it just does it automatically. So that's there. It is, I mean, it already exists, but it's getting into that mainstream where you see everybody using it because not everybody has that.
Yeah, we're living an explosion of tech, pretty much. Like it's just like the internet era. This is just, I think, 10, 20 times stronger.
100%. These events that I go to, I was when I was in Vancouver, in Qatar, Singapore. I mean, the companies that are coming up with the technology,
Hmm.
they say is, they talk about the future. The future is it's here.
Yeah,
It's there. I mean, if I saw some of these humanoids that they create, it's unreal. It's unreal. But it's all about getting it to the mainstream and more importantly, education. I think educating people because there is a bit of a scaremonger right now, which is AI is taking over my job,
yeah,
you know?
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a different topic. I was gonna ask you what you think about that, but I think it's
Yeah.
a topic for another moment because I'm
Mhm.
super intrigued about how you grow all those connections. So I mean, networking, meeting people. I think it in the end, whether you do it online, right, whether they come through a form, eventually becomes important. They need to see the face
Yeah.
they speak to. Do you have any favorite events? Given that you are always networking, how do you arrange your day to day so that you can get to bring these people into your pipeline? Like, what's
So
your way
I
to?
don't, yeah, so I do have, when I go for the online events, my aim is to meet, you get so many people, but my aim is just to meet one or two.
Right.
I'd rather have quality conversations rather than, now the question is, again, like I said, I don't know if these are leads, right? But networking is not about the person you're speaking to is your customer. That's not what networking is. That's not how I see it.
Hmm.
Networking is I meet you who can then connect me to your network. And your network is my customer. If I can convince you, then you will introduce me to your network. You are never buying my product because everybody at a networking event is selling. It's a pool of sellers, sellers, sellers. That's all it is. So, and when people come there, they pitch. I do not pitch to to people that I meet because you're not the person buying my product, but your network is. So how do I connect with you to get access to your network? So if, for example, every event I go and I meet two or three meaningful conversations and they open me to their network, well, that's a lot of people because
Hmm.
I don't know how many people they know. So that's it. Network. I see a lot of people coming to networking events and all they do is they sell. And selling is not, it's not a selling event, it's a networking. And the two separate words. And networking is getting to know someone. But I see it all the time, people pitching to me, and I'm like, I'm not buying. Like, I'm not buying.
Right, right. So what do you tend to do when you find these type of conversations that you obviously don't feel are right when they come to you just because it's true they come to you and they try to sell you everything they have.
So it's very
How
easy
do you
to
handle it?
it's very easy to cut a conversation short. It's a bit of a technique. You're not being rude, but you can literally cut a conversation short. It's not that difficult. The hardest part is to keep the conversation going. That's the hard part. Keep a conversation short is super simple because you can just be abrupt if you want to,
Right.
right? Because you're never going to see this person. But the hardest part is keeping the conversation going. Right. You see somebody super interested or they're interested. And again, everybody's selling, but my main aim is to network with the person,
Hmm.
not to sell. And
Right.
that's where, whenever I join the online events or when I join the in-person event, it's just to meet one or two people. I have no intention of meeting everybody. Like, it's like it's what do you call it? Spray and pray. Like I have no interest, like, and then hopefully somebody, it's just like one or two.
Meaningful conversations.
Correct. And now 8 times or 9 times out of 10, nothing might come out of it, right? Because you don't know who you're speaking to.
Yeah. Yeah.
But 1 out of 10, I'll take that, because again, the more people you speak to, the more opportunities come. That's all it is.
Do you wait for them to tell you, hey, I'm ready for this product, or do you try to push a little bit?
I
Okay.
always find out about what it is, or how this can help somebody in their network.
Mm.
So I'll give you a great example. A couple of weeks ago, I was joined this networking event out in the US. First time, I used I was talking to, and one of the team leaders, because you do these breakout events. And I said the same thing the second time, the next week again. And the lady goes, Jeldon, because you said florist, I know a couple of people who have a florist business, and now she's connected me. She's like, that'd be super cool if you can get. And I was like, that's exactly what I just said, which is you're not buying it, but because I said florist, you happen to know a florist. You just happen to know somebody who owns a flower shop, and you're trying to connect me with that person in California to me in the UK, which is exactly that's networking.
Yeah, so it's just all about just exposing yourself, being honest about what you do, like not
Yeah,
trying to push it. Nice. Okay, and then just waiting for the right moment. Not spraying and praying like you said,
correct.
or being talking about exactly, how you can help people out.
Yeah.
Amazing. So when it comes to pricing, it's a hot topic to touch, right? Because everyone, I mean, all businesses want to make sure that they get a return on their investment.
Mhm.
How do you guys do this? Do you have a bespoke price for all the people?
Yes, we do. Initially, like, for the web, we're looking to, for the web AI agent, we're looking to be super competitive out there. But the labs work, what we do is the very custom build things. And I would say pricing is all when it comes down to one simple word, and that's
Mm,
value.
mm,
And again, I'm going to use another analogy, which is, if I get a bottle of water in the supermarket costs 50p, that same bottle of water, if I go to the airport, costs £5. If I go to a top-end restaurant, costs £10. If I go in the desert, probably costs £30. It's the same bottle of water, but the value has changed at different stages, right? So having a product is whether you're creating that value for them.
right.
So what I mean by that is I'm hoping to be the I create the value of the water in the desert. where you really, really need this. Now, if I create it like in my local supermarket, which costs 50p, then that's the pricing I have to be. But I'm looking to create the value that's in the desert where they're like, oh my good God, I like how, how do I get this water? And they're willing to pay a premium, but it's the value.
Right.
That's the main thing. It is how do you create the value?
Right. And that comes through all the nurturing part that you mentioned.
Exactly. It's the
Intuitive.
nurturing. Correct. It's understanding what their challenges are, how we can help them, understanding where they see a return of investment. And usually, especially with AI, I think you have, when you're dealing with AI, and people always say this in sales, you need to speak to decision makers. You're absolutely right. Because the decision makers, the C levels, they see it for the next 2 to 3 to 5 years. Unfortunately, sometimes when you're speaking to somebody, maybe a manager might think, is this taking over my job, which has a negative, although it might save them money or process or whatever, it's like this might take over my job,
Yeah.
but the world's changing.
Mm. That's true. That's true. I'm going to adapt because it's coming anyway. Okay. So, Jeldon, what's the future for AC? How are you guys evolving? What are you
Yeah,
5
I
to
think
6 month plan?
Yeah, so AZ is evolving at a rapid pace. I think AI and the world is, evolving at a rapid pace. I don't think we've seen this, even when the internet came out, we didn't see this quick.
Mm.
I look on, whether it's on LinkedIn or on some of the blog posts, or you look on and some every day, it's like there's something new being built every day that what you saw last week is now old.
Yeah.
That I just saw recently about AI influencers and stuff like that. So what we're doing at AZ, we're trying to keep up with it, but
Hmm.
there's no company that can, right? So what we see is we are sticking to the AI web widget, right? Having those conversational the old term is chatbot. I don't like it because it has this, oh, it's a chatbot, but it's conversational. I actually see a world where every website has it,
Hmm.
right? You have the opportunity to speak to it. But more importantly, you don't need to have so much of content now on your website. You can just have one page and all that content sits somewhere and you can just speak to the agent. So you don't technically need to have so much of content on the website and let just unnecessary content. You
Mm.
could just ask the agent and they'll give you the answer because you might have one or two questions. You don't need gigabytes of information for the person. Yes, there might be different people, but again, everybody has one or two questions. Usually they're the same question. You might get it, but do you need to put it on your website? No, you don't. You just ask the agent. The agent will give the answer.
And do you currently are you currently looking for more people to join your, I guess, your beta product
Oh
still?
yeah, absolutely. We are always, we want people. This is innovation. This is new. This is new, and we love people who take a risk, right?
Hmm.
No risk, no reward, right? We have one of our initial investors. His daughter has a jewelry. She's 15 years old. She's got a jewelry
Wow.
website. She's going to be one of the first people to have like AI, on her website. So there's so much of opportunity because we are targeting not just the top 1%, top 5%, top 10%. We are catering to the 90% of businesses that have a website who are thinking about AI, but they go, I have a website and it's fine. Well, let's give it something, let's move it from a black and white TV to a 8K.
Sheldon, it was such a pleasure to discuss this topic about your business, about AI, how AZ is evolving your agentic voice assistant small company as well that you run with your colleagues. It's been a real pleasure. I think I've learned so much. I think I haven't taken so many notes in my life. Just trying to follow up and with everything that needs to be discussed because there are so many things here. Did you have fun? Did you enjoy the conversation?
Oh, I love it. I think when we had the conversation like a couple of days ago, and I usually don't, as I mentioned, I usually only keep half an hour for conversations, and our conversation went on for an hour and a half. That
Yeah.
actually move my meetings. And again, it's one of those things, right? We met at a networking event, and you don't know when you might connect with someone, which we did, which is really, really amazing. And it's not about how do we both learn from each other,
Hmm.
right? I learned a lot of things from you, you learned a lot of things from me, and this is networking at its best. We met at an event. We met twice, actually, one at another event as well. And
Destiny
I,
keeps bringing us together.
exactly. As a matter of fact, I always say, good people are destined to meet good people.
Nice.
That's how it is, right? And and again, just short story again, my somebody in the team, we met at a networking event, right? Now she's a part of the team. And then a few months later, I met this gentleman at a networking event just before I went to Vancouver, only to find out that she and him are really good friends.
Oh, wow.
And
Such a
and
small
she was
world.
like, "How do you know him?" And I was like, and that's where we go, which was good people are destined to meet good people. That's how it is. And we were like, wow, what a small world that I got along with him, he got along with her, and I met her, and we just like it's just amazing.
There is only like how many people? 5 billion in the world?
Exactly.
Or
Exactly.
5 billion? And
Exactly.
it's just yeah. I mean, I believe in all those things. So yeah, I'm with you, man. Good people are destined to meet good
Yeah,
people.
100%.
So Jeldon, just to finish up, can you please give us the, can you please give me the best advice you got or the best advice you can give out to people out of from this journey of yours building a
Yes. So the best advice I actually got was from a homeless person that I met.
okay.
And it literally shook me to the core that I have implemented this advice since then. And the advice was, it was more of a saying rather than the advice, which is the call you make is the echo you receive. And that literally was, it changed my life. So what that literally means is what you put out into the world, you will get back. Now, the key thing is it might be in a day, it might be in a week, it might be in a year, it might be in 10 years, but what you put out, you will get back. And that has literally changed my life. And I'll be honest, that was the best advice that homeless person, I mean, the best advice I ever received was from a homeless person.
Oh man, I think that's something that's quite deep. Have you drawn any conclusions as well about your experience building the company? Do you have any feedback to share
It's tough.
yourself?
Yeah, it's tough. Every day is a hustle. But like I said, I believe we live in a world of abundance and opportunity. So I have to go out and, I have to hunt, right? You got to hunt. When people think, the entrepreneur live a lifestyle of luxury and all, we don't. What they don't see is the everyday sacrifices, the family sacrifices, the
Mm,
children, all of this. There's a lot of sacrifice that goes on in the back end. But would I change this? No, I wouldn't. But it is a hustle. You have to get up in the morning, which is I'm going to find, go out and look, network, meet people, those your and you will fail. By all, we hear more sometimes a lot more bad news than good news, and we will fail, and we will fail, and we will fail. But then you have to learn from those failures. The main thing is just don't give up
and make sure to enjoy
because
the journey.
and enjoy the journey. I mean, I enjoy my journey. I love what I do. Like, I love going to the gym. I enjoy my journey, spend time with the family. Me and my wife, we go out for coffee morning. The little small things, you don't need to have a good holiday in Vegas to enjoy. You can just go out for a coffee, right? Having a meaningful conversation with your wife, your kids, or whatever it is. That's all it is. It's just a coffee. It doesn't need to be a trip to Vegas. I mean, although a trip to Vegas would be nice, but we enjoy the small
Quality
things.
quality time with the family and the love,
Correct.
not
Exactly.
quantity. Pleasure, Jeldon, again. Pleasure is all mine to have met you
No,
and
thank you so much. I think this is great, and I love what you're doing, Eduardo. And yeah, I'm looking
appreciate it.
forward to some more of these.
Thank you very much. Bye bye, Jeldon.
Take care.